Next person walks over and goes, "That's probably one of the best things I've ever seen you do in my life." You're like, "Oh, really? Well, let's pour some more on it." It's just. Otherwise, I would probably set fire on it in my studio and kill 20. But so I think sometimes that's when people think you're weird because it's like because Aaron's disappeared. I don't even know where he's at. He's at home. He's painting. He's okay. It's a different lifestyle for a lot of people.
But it should be it should be
Sure.
incorporated into the life of a nation, of a country. It should be a part of the culture. To the extent that I don't think it is here, and that makes it difficult. It makes it difficult to be an artist.
Yeah, right. Especially that creating part. I mean, performance arts is a little different because it is very, it's public facing. But there's all but getting up to that point, right? All the rehearsal, all of the time spent learning the song. What are the nuances that that I want to express here? What is this process? Nonetheless, all the same.
It's funny because we're mostly visual artists.
I write as well. I write as well.
You do? That's great.
Right. But we all do other things. That's exactly, Aaron. We're not just one thing. You're not just one thing. Right?
You said something, and if I may share this with you guys, I had this great opportunity to meet an artist. He's 83, going into 84 years old. This man displaying his art, and he describes himself as being in transition all his life.
Wow.
As an artist.
Wow.
Why? Because he has gone from being a expressionistic artist to an abstractionistic, right?
Most of them do.
Going back to that, coming back. In the past 6 years of his life, right? We talked about in his late 70s, he decided to go back to abstraction. No, excuse me, to expressionistic, my bad. And then he's displaying all these sequences, of what his life has been. With only 4 pieces of art in an art fair. And he's sitting in this with a chair, greeting people at age 84. And people are looking not just how different his artwork was. He's looking at his bio, right? People, we get it. That you as an artist can be very versatile. Why not? There's not this expectation of what is that you or we want you to be. I can do whatever I want. That's pretty much his statement.
Right.
As an artist. So again, going back to the labels.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. You go to his exhibit. You're not gonna see anybody saying, "Oh my God, this looks like a different artist right here." No. This is Aaron. And this is what his life has been.
Yeah.
As opposed to here, you go to, if you want to actually create abstracts and combine it with your things, whatever, my God, it looks like a 2 different artists. You don't have this kind of, lingo in places like that.
Right.
It was so refreshing and so powerful just to hear this man, saying that. That goes to tell you, it's just that, it's the transition, going back and forward, anytime you want.
Yeah.
That's freedom. That's liberty, if you want to put it that way.
It is. Yeah. It's liberating.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's also too understanding that I think once you have the understanding that there's that light or that something in there to get, that there is no such thing as writer's block. You have other avenues.
Right.
Like for me, not only do I write, but I dance. I've become a dancer because
good for you.
I understand what that does to me. That's become part of my process, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Love it.
You
There's
know,
always one on.
And that's a question that's coming up too.
I got a bunch of more.
Yeah.
but you know, one thing I think one creative thing or one expressive thing lends itself to the other, and so there's never a time when I feel stagnant because I always have an avenue, even if the art isn't there, or I don't have time to do it. I can go ahead and I can dance it out, or I can bought a Congo the other day, just so I can.
Well,
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Which is, go ahead. I want to go
No,
to our
I was
next
just
question.
gonna say, and this is why, why you saw that pushback out immediately, didn't you? When you used that phrase, well, I'm not, I'm not an artist, I'm not. That I think for us, right? We see the art in everyone. We see the creative spark in everyone, and it's the language, it's the definition that hangs
Which is
out.
actually your
And
question.
Geppe, you helped me see something because I realized in your comments that were spot on that I see artistry as a vocation,
Yes.
and it's not.
Sometimes it is, sometimes
Well, I don't think it ever is purely a vocation,
it's not. Well, no, I agree with that.
unless you're working on a lithograph machine somewhere. I defined artistry vocationally, and that was really short-sighted of me.
Right. Right.
It's pretty much like a label.
It's a label that limits.
And the language, and that's the language.
Yes.
That
I mean, and
limits you.
Susan can tell you that for a zillion years, I fought the word artist. I never considered myself as an artist.
Well,
Not at all. Not in any way.
He was.
I'm over there painting all the
I'm
time,
not
but
an
I'm
artist.
not an
I'm not.
artist.
I'm not an artist. I'm not an artist. And I would say, okay, I think you might be, but
You may want to reconsider that.
Sometimes
And then Cindy come in one day, one of the ladies that we paint with, and she was filling out some paperwork for something, and she goes, I did it. I put artist down as my occupation on my paperwork today. And I was like, good for you.
but that is also a label, isn't it? Jen?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
you know what
See?
sometimes. Obviously, this is pretty much over the top sometimes because that's the way my brain works. But if we look at allergies, right? Some people are allergic to peanuts or almonds, and I know because you were born being allergic to that, you can develop that later on in life. Am I right?
Right, you can't.
So you've been eating almost all your life, and then all of a sudden, boop, something triggered, and you become allergic to almonds.
Yeah.
That's the way art is for me. So, in other words, so you go months or years, right?
Yes.
Knowing that you can do something artistic,
Right.
and one day be open to the possibility that you're gonna get an allergic reaction to something. And that will be the art.
John, I'm curious about that and I'm curious about your reaction to that because that was really strong response from you.
Seriously, I mean, honestly, it's just the fact that when you said that you're not an artist, listen, it's because you haven't tried or whatever. Be open that tomorrow you might probably start putting things on the canvas and the paper.
There you go.
That's your allergic reaction to that, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
That triggers something.
That's it. It triggers something.
That's the way I look at it. It's just that is being spontaneous. I think art has to be all about spontaneity.
And where's that spontaneity coming from?
Well, but look, I teach them.
Your inner.
Your soul.
That light, right?
Yes,
I love the way you
absolutely.
describe the lights. Yeah, why
I'm
not? Yes,
teaching
it is.
people that are 90 years old. Or
You
80
do.
years old.
You absolutely
They've never
do.
picked up a brush,
They're 90.
and they do. They just are amazing.
Yes.
Right?
But
And the
they're
thing-
also at a point where ego is gone.
Well,
Their ego is
I
flown
mean-
out the door.
They're open.
something
They
new,
want to.
They're resistant sometimes.
Artists, women who have been artists who can't see anymore, who've lost most of their sight,
And
right?
thought they couldn't paint anymore.
And thought they couldn't paint anymore, and yet what they're painting, although it's not what they want,
What they feel like.
Or what they,
it's amazing.
yeah, they're beautiful pieces.
Right?
Yeah.
You just created a window there.
Uh-oh.
I don't think you realize you did it.
Okay.
You introduced the concept of ego into this.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And if you're looking for an intersection
I'll
between
always
art
use ego.
and spirituality, ego But cognitive psychology, I mean, that is a central concept, and it plays out in spiritual terms, almost always in spiritual warfare in people.
Ooh, this could really go to a different place.
But I'm thinking that one of the intersections here might be that your concept of self-spirituality informs your sense of ego.
It's a component. Let's be
And
realistic. It is a component.
and that ego becomes one of the lenses that you bring to your art form.
No, this is.
Your ego can also hold you back from your art
ego is
form,
not
right?
Absolutely can.
Right.
Yeah, but it
It's
also is not
bivalent.
a pejorative. It doesn't
can
need to
become
be
a barrier.
pejorative
Oh, yes,
for an
absolutely.
ego, right? It doesn't need to
Because if you have
have
a-
a negative connotation.
This one has
Absolutely.
pushed me through that because
Just going
so
back
many
to-
times I sit there at that canvas and I was never happy with what I was producing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just wasn't what I had visioned it was going to be.
Right.
And Susan's like, yeah,
Let it go.
but it's here, it's arrived, and you have to, kind of have to surrender to this.
Yeah.
And you have to
Do
push
you have
you out of the way and say it was the process and your inner soulfulness that created what's there in front of you. Own it.
I don't know.
Embrace it.
Actually, I'm not a psychologist, but I think ego. Between ego and insecurity, there is a very fine line. That's all I always say.
Come on, Shannon, you can speak
I mean, it's very
into all of this.
Ego, artistical, demeanor is actually coming.
But
The
it's
roots
Well,
generally are from being
you're
very
both social
insecure.
workers.
Until you hit that spot that makes you feel very secure, and you try to
cool.
capitalize on that, like 24 hours a day.
Conventional,
reality, it's just
conventional language falls apart in bridging those two.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm sorry, enriching what too?
the ego
Ego,
to
ego,
anything else.
Yeah, anything else? Okay.
Conventional language, what we use in conversation, in discourse, falls apart. Because there are unspoken parts of your ego that don't align with language, spoken language.
I believe. Yeah, you're
But
probably
they
right.
do align with other forms of expression that just happen, they find their way out.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
They find their way out.
When you point out Aaron is talking
Well,
about
no, because I was struck by Aaron's
he's-
comment about,
he's dancing.
if I feel subdued and once I'll switch to a different
I love
medium.
it.
A different
You know,
modality.
and to me, that is an expression of genius. That someone
It
can
is.
do that.
Totally.
That someone can do that.
I'm sorry. I don't,
There you go.
okay,
To me,
Where's
that's
your
like,
ones at? Get those ones out
have
here.
you ever been around somebody in conversation with people from other cultures and they can flip out in and out of 2 or 3 different languages at the same time and
Well, I'm
be
sure.
equally as expressive?
yeah.
Oh, you can probably
amazing to
Spanish and
watch.
English and bounce in and out.
It's an
I
amazing
speak
thing.
4 languages,
Stunning.
And when I go places,
Wait, would you speak?
Spanish is my first
you speak
native
everything.
language, and English is my second, French is my third, and Italian is my fourth.
Nice.
But these days I speak, English, French, Spanish, and Italian. I speak those 3 languages. The first one better than the Italian, but in Italian I communicate without a problem.
You sound like somebody from New Orleans.
Yeah, right.
With all the Spanish,
With all that things.
Italian, and
Sort of recapture the point that
Yeah.
that there are languages that exist that can connect the ego in its current context.
Pretty much.
That defy your ability to articulate them in words.
Jeez.
one thing that I've
That's awesome.
that
Very well said.
I've been listening to all of this energy, and I'm thinking what JP has said. I'm sitting in myself saying, yes, that's it, and I'll get to that part. But yes, that's it. And I hear Aaron talking about certain things, and like that is it. And Susan, I'm thinking that's part.
No,
of
that's
it.
it.
That's part of this, and the spirituality component, all this stuff, and I'm thinking that's it. I mean, but that it is coming from a different. Yes, I've painted. I've done that.
You have. You're a great painter.
But my love and my allergy that just recently came up a year and a half ago
Mm-hmm.
is, finding old historic homes and reviving them, bringing back that life.
Yeah.
And to me, every pieces of this, I'm thinking, yeah, that's part of, I get that.
I would really like for Aaron to see the house before we leave.
And the
Oh my God.
self-isolation part, that Glenn talked about earlier, yeah, I mean, I totally get that. And it's in my own form, I guess, my own way, but
Yeah.
that's all I do. That's all I do day and night that's just who I am at this juncture.
At
in my
this
life.
point. And you've had several junctures, but they've all been great
Several.
junctures.
Can I want to attach to this. I mean,
Yeah.
You can-
Shannon and I have been together almost 21 years, okay? I can finish a sentence before he says it.
Too long.
I have walked in every one of the houses that he's done. And my first thought is, Shannon does this house. Knock it
He
down
has said
and
that
build.
every time. He has said that.
There you
every
go.
time.
Yeah.
I have felt the
Yes.
need for
Right.
vaccinations after I walk out of his
Yeah.
houses. And in each instance, he will look, he looks and he says, I see it.
Yes.
I see.
And I
feel
And
it.
that's what I'm hearing from you guys.
I feel
That's
it.
what I'm
You
hearing.
feel
You
it.
see
I know
I
it.
literally
I know
touch
it.
it.
I feel it. Right.
There is a kinesthetic sense.
Yep.
There is an
Ooh,
awareness.
now we're moving into something.
He's placing himself in it.
In
Exactly.
it. Just like
I
what
can
you're
exactly
saying.
right.
Isn't that Michelangelo,
Yes.
right?
Like that.
And you
When
cannot
place yourself
drop-
in it,
In it.
Jeffy, you cannot move him off his
No.
vision.
No.
You cannot
No.
move him
placing
off
yourself in
I'd
it.
like to jump in
Yeah,
and
you
talk
can't
about
move
the-
him. I've tried.
Glenn was saying
I've
about
tried.
the lonely experience, and no one gets that.
Right.
They can be there with you, supportive, and like that kind of thing, but no one's there because you're somewhere else.
And sometimes I think that I find myself, and again, we can all talk about anything. I become sometimes so consumed, and at times I have to catch myself and say, okay, Shannon, snap out of it. You got hair to do down in the salon today. You got a pedicure on some crusty feet.
Well, Van Gogh used to eat his turpentine. You know what I'm saying?
See, you talk about all your different modalities you can jump through. He jumps into so many different modalities himself. You do the same.
That's how we do it.
That's part, that to me,
Mike,
that is the
Mike's had
definition.
more modalities than
That's the definition of
JHC does.
Yeah.
To me, that is it. It's uniqueness, as I
It
said
is.
earlier. It's individuality.
Yep.
But there's a continual strand that, as I said earlier, I firmly believe is universal
Yeah.
within art.
Right.
Art meaning on a painting or a house or a garden.
Sure.
or-
Absolutely. Sure.
Whatever
You
you
know,
put
it's-
your spirit into.
It's
That's where the
also,
spirituality comes in.
but it's also
Yeah,
often
exactly.
about me bettering myself as a
Look
human
at
being
this sangria.
and
that-
bettering the
that is
human
the
experience,
purpose.
right?
That is the purpose.
For-
you-
for
you-
everybody.
You see this as a self-investment.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, at times, at times, but I also see it as, I mean, when I'm over there, I'm paying a community. That's not it's kind of self-investment, but I'm also investing in other people's,
Yeah.
what they're doing as well.
Okay, Glenn, that's what I meant a while ago. When I said what y'all were saying, I was thinking that's part of me.
What?
My theory about these homes is not just about self-investment,
Right.
but it's about neighborhood.
About neighborhood.
It's about community,
Right.
and it's about preserving history
Right.
And the
bringing
energy
the
in that
old
place.
back to new.
Yeah.
Yes.
So a family can come in where it started for maybe just because of me, my vision. That next family can come in that says, "Oh my gosh, we want to continue."
We're gonna take that
care of
vision and
this
keep
place."
going with it. There's also when we came up for your open house, it was so evident. Shoo.
You had a moment there.
I'm not over it yet either. You're building community through the people that are also working with you.
Absolutely.
They were all there.
Absolutely.
That's part of the
Fabulous.
neighborhood and community.
And they were all just as
Thinking
proud of your
about that.
vision and what they were helped you accomplish.
Is hiring locals
Is anything.
to help.
Right.
It's
That's
a
very powerful.
yes. That
That's
is.
very
Yeah.
powerful.
That
But
is.
it's true.
It is true.
It is true. Very true. I could not do it without my
I mean, yes, there is some self. There is a little bit of self in there
Yeah.
because that's what's driving. It's their
Y'all met
spiritual
Ben.
self.
Oh, yes. And
But
it's
you also you're so good at
Asher.
sharing
Asher.
that
Asher,
and
dog.
making it happen.
Yeah, there's just they're really good,
See?
really good people.
Got me. Got me.
But see, that's how.
An
And
artist needs
that's-
to be in that house, by the way, Glenn.
Oh.
But that is.
Yes.
Yeah,
this is
right.
Big A definition.
Glen Biggs
of-
moving it so fast.
of Art, right? Is to bring this. Is to bring this energy, bring people together. You don't have to always work in community to be part of that.
No.
I think that comes from awareness. And
Yeah.
and it starts with, I mean, as a former social worker, you know, and I think that I'll always have that in my heart, but it's grassroots almost, you know, it's a grassroots effort. It's where a few people come together like this and start the discussion, making it aware that,
Yep.
you know, these are the things that we feel, that we go through as artists. So yeah, what you said, I think that part of that's just awareness.
And also too, it gives people a language as well. People are looking for an end. They don't know how to get there. They're looking for something, and artists do it for them.
And Aaron, you
That's
just
just
knocked
really
that out of the
interesting.
park
That's
because
Mm.
you know I come from a healthcare background, and if you want to see the
There,
power
no
of
art in healthcare, is there?
if you
No.
want to see the power of art, take individuals who are in cognitive decline, Alzheimer's spectrum,
Right.
and confront them with art form and watch what happens. Whether it's music or whether
Just about to
it's
say, yep.
whether it's sculpture, or they reconnect.
They come to life.
Now you tell me what that is.
Anton Weiss painted until the day he died, practically.
You tell me what that is when someone who cannot put two coherent words together
Or know your
suddenly has his or her
There
voice
is
back.
there is something
When
more
they're
to
exposed to
that.
a magnificent
There's
painting
something.
or music or
That's the language. It's the
It's the
expression.
innateness.
Because it
It's
is
just
being-
innate.
it's a transcendental
See,
language.
that's exactly.
Because it actually is above conventional language because those neural networks are gone, okay? But it's still there.
It's who I am.
It's still
and I can still
there.
talk about it.
And we can label that spiritual. I'm not so sure. I think that our brain
it
is probably the most magnificent piece of art ever created. But to think that when conventional language fails, you introduce art form, color, shape, dimension, texture, sound to someone who is cognitively incoherent, and all of a sudden they light up like a Christmas tree.
All instincts.
Now you've just demonstrated that you operate in a language that's transcendental.
Again, I think that that's why it is, to me, art. And what I do is a universal, I get it. Whether you're cognitively impaired, or no matter where you live, you know, I mean, you get it. I mean, you just get it. You know, so.
I'm talking too much here, but I'm really getting activated. Let's take it to an absurd level of abstraction. I just watched an elephant paint a canvas.
Okay.
Took his or her trunk with a brush
Yeah.
and willfully created an image with multiple colors.
So now you're bringing the animal world into the art.
Now, you tell me where that comes from.
There's one word there that I would think about, because I don't know the mind of an animal. I just know what it means for a human. So willful implies some intentionality and some ability to choose, to differentiate between color and form.
I think that's a spectrum.
And,
Yes.
and so
No,
I don't
no,
know
no, sound
whether
it.
that elephant is able to bring that kind of sophistication to that work, which is not denigrating the effort or the finished product. But there's a difference, right?
But the demonstration is intentionality. That elephant
Yes.
intentionally does this.
Yeah.
Whatever it is to that elephant.
I didn't even know that it
And
existed until they brought it over.
They attract the elephant to do this very simply. They just put a canvas up, and the elephant comes and grabs. They give it the brush, and they just put the paint in front, and it just plays around with it and goes to the canvas. It's on YouTube. You can watch it.
Yeah, well, Hohenwald does this.
Yeah.
Used to do this a
But
lot.
they also do it with great apes.
It's
With the great
interesting.
apes.
Yeah.
So
That's one of the things that is not a criticism, but since I'm not quite probably versed in those kind of things with the animals, but since I'm a very pro-animal person, I think that for me, when I try to play with the animal's instinct, right, it's almost like in kind of until I get more knowledge in the matter. I feel like it somehow is violation for me because I've seen animals being somehow either prompted or forced to do something by utilizing their natural instinct, to probably satisfy kind of humans' purposes. And I don't argue the fact that an animal can actually have the ability to do great things. I'm gonna have to watch the video in order for me to get more knowledge on it. But the minute I sense that it's somehow we're
Abusive.
playing with the instinct of the animal,
Oh, sure.
I'm completely gonna detach myself from all that because I do believe that yes, any living creature can be a very productive art maker with the intention that nature has given them, period. But now with that, playing with somebody of animals for me are people anyway. That's what I refer to, their instincts. And I think it's almost like me making my dog, because I know that he likes to jump, and I'm gonna put a canvas on the bed, and he's gonna create art, absolutely. For me, even better because I'm I'm doing abstractionist.
Well, they don't overinterpret this, and I completely agree with what you're saying because you can manipulate an animal to do a lot of things and under cruel conditions. But their context was, and these are actually sociologists who are studying behavior.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
they study
I need to give
expressive behavior, and their point was even animals are expressive.
Birds.
And to the extent that translates into human art is for another discussion.
Well, you did preface this with absurd, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. But
It's not so far.
I got a question for you now, if I may.
yeah.
So you talk about this animal, right, that was able to create a piece of art. What is it that you're giving him, the animal, so much credit, but you came short giving yourself credit when you said that you were not artistic?
Yeah, what's interesting is they've created an
If I
industry.
may ask you that
No,
question.
absolutely. They've created an industry about this, and they actually sell these paintings.
They do. Well, Hohenwald did.
Yeah,
and still
and the
does.
painting, the money from the painting sales go to support
The animals.
the animals.
Okay,
Which
that's
is
the
great.
purpose.
And they
the
live in
sanctuary.
open.
But see what I'm saying is
Yeah.
just the fact that, hey, everybody, I think, and again, every living
Right. Sure.
can produce a piece of
Right. I love the way you language that, Geppe. I love the way you said that.
So I think we all have these,
There is that,
channel.
with the ability that
Yeah.
nature gave you.
yeah.
There is a difference between you putting your canvas on the studio floor and having all the dogs walk all over it with paint and cats get in paint. I have my cats get in paint and walk across the canvas. Okay, yeah, they were creating art, but they weren't.
Just painting.
Wasn't intentional. It was accidental. I mean, they were.
Well,
Okay, I'm going
or
to shift our
it- or
conversation
it
for
isn't,
just a moment.
You know,
If you don't mind. If you don't
I
mind.
wanted to go. Well, I wanted to just mention something,
Does
which is
anybody
kind
need
of
a
not the
glass
same.
of wine?
I would love one, please. Red.
That
Red.
the idea
White?
that
I'm good.
art as a spiritual
water.
practice. Remember you mentioned the monastic life, right? And practicing the rule, about this stuff. And it occurred to me that for me particularly, that's probably what this is. And I never really put those
A
two
form of
together.
monasticism?
A form of spiritual practice.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't equate it with spirituality, and I never have really. Although those emotions, that joy, that all that stuff that I'm trying to. But art as spiritual.
Thank you, love.
The idea of process as being the thing that, you know. There's a lot for me to think about on that.
Let me go here. And then
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
My premise here, Geppe, is that animals are spiritual beings.
Ah.
They're not slaves, and they have a spiritual capacity to express. And if that's what we're seeing here, thanks be to the Almighty. And if it's a manipulated thing, coerced thing, then props be on whoever's doing it. You know, but to your point, here's my question then: if you think it's a spiritual practice, is art a form of meditation?
Yeah.
Well, let's just go back to some of these people who've written about that, like Kiefer and Kandinsky.
We're killing
And
the
Gerhardt.
I'm sorry. we're killing
I mean,
the-
they
I
all.
think so.
There is, yes, there's a whole book written about that I brought with me.
What is
About
it?
art as meditation.
Oh,
It's called Art as a Way of Knowing.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. In the morning pages.
Well, that's her thing.
Yes.
Yeah. This book I have is not that, but yeah, that's another function of that. I was getting more at something that probably because of my own particular background and upbringing, it's a more mystical kind of thing. That whole mystic, movement in Catholicism, mysticism, Teresa, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I think as soon as you do away with the mystery of it, it untangles. I think it becomes nonsense once you let go of the
Yeah, now
mystery.
you're just
Yeah.
You're trying
not
to be
little. Now you're an elephant with a brush,
yeah,
right?
you're trying to be an absolutionist, and
Kind of. Yeah.
if you're not comfortable with the mystery, I mean, I can't imagine attempting to try to paint something and not live into some kind of mystery about what it is and what it will be eventually.
Well,
Yeah,
spirituality in
but
itself
then
is the
there's these
mystery.
other
Of course it
levels
is,
though
yeah.
too, right, Geppe? That there are these other levels of it. There's technique. There's the knowing of how color and light and form and all of these things that go together that
And
create
what you
composition.
match with to get
that-
your ultimate to reach your apex.
Yeah,
That's exactly
yeah,
correct.
yeah.
Explain what you mean by that.
So here recently, I've been painting being in the last 3 years, been going through this thing and where art is an individual thing, just trying to figure out who I am, sort through that kind of thing. But I've been doing that through figuring out and paying attention to the process. So in the process, I've figured out, all right, well, cool. I'm this kind of painter or I'm this kind of artist. And usually my creativity comes through music first. And so, thinking about when I bought my house at first, I used to just have this little surround sound system hooked up in my studio and just play it. And we play it loud. And I'm just in there with the music and just rocking out, whatever my mood. Sometimes classic rock, sometimes it's hip hop, sometimes it's blues. And so then something comes out. And so in the last few years, paying closer attention, I realized, wow, I really like intense music. And so I've been looking for intensity in classical music. I've been looking for intensity in blues. Blues is so intense. That's probably my second favorite genre of music because of the level of emotion that's captured in it. And if you go to some of the really, really good blues, you hear the piano, you hear the guitar, you hear the vocalist, and everybody's playing their hearts out in different layers, right? And so you have all these things that are coming together. I might have lost my point. Bring me back to what I was saying.
It's like Geppe said a while ago, though, about going into a gallery or just finding a piece of art and actually smelling it.
Yeah.
And
Well, Shannon, this led me to my next question, which was really where I was going to put the ship. But go.
So intensity. So I found that these certain music bring me to my apex. Like, let me find the intensity, because the intensity helps me get my language out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found that this intensity that's coming out, it needs to be on a larger canvas, because these things aren't small enough to capture it. And so paying attention to the process, it's like this whole cycle of things.
like Mike said, we'll go about using all the senses.
Yep.
It's putting it on paper, it's seeing it, it's feeling
Oh my
it.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
But what you just said implied a sense of volume. That whatever language form you take, sometimes you need to turn the volume up and sometimes you turn the volume down.
Absolutely.
What does that mean? I don't know.
What does that mean when you do it with that piano in there?
I do that because I get tired of him yelling at me because it's too loud.
Bingo!
If I'm here by myself, you could hear it at Walmart. But,
What you need.
Because you feel it. You feel the energy through the music when it's loud.
you know, in language, sometimes you feel the need to raise your voice. You need to raise your voice because it's a point of emphasis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
exactly.
and then sometimes your voice is more subtle,
Yep.
and sometimes you whisper. Voice is provides an interesting valence to language.
And a lot of times, like Aaron just said, it really also provides a venue to open up other
Right.
opportunities.
Yeah.
And to me, honestly, music is an art itself.
Well, music is
So
art.
I can see writing and music and doing artwork. I can see that
So
as a perfectly married couple.
it just so happens that. Oh, and by the way, I got you a book,
Oh,
and I got you a book, and you might have to share. I'm going to get you one as well.
We're fine.
So I
Did you
got,
write it?
I got
You can give me
Jeppe's.
one.
Huh?
Do you want me to give? I can give Shannon one.
Oh no,
share,
no,
I
they,
can share one.
Let us
they're
share.
good. They're good.
Oh, okay.
Yes, let us share.
And then I'm going to get you one as well. But this is Kandinsky's book that I found called "Concerning the Spiritual in Art," and it's an incredible book. It's incredible, and I can't get out of it now. But it's really funny, Shannon. He's talking about the music thing. If you look on page 30, where am I at? 19, page 18. It's called the Pyramid, and Kandinsky's talking about.
Page 30, would you say
I
30?
know it's page 19.
19.
They're finding in music, and the natural result of this striving is that the various arts are drawing together. All the various arts. Page 19, yeah, up under the pyramid. The third paragraph. And the natural result of this striving is that the various arts are drawing together. Music, performance, visual, everything, writing. They're finding in music the best teacher. With few exceptions, music has been for some centuries the art which has devoted itself not to the reproduction of natural phenomena, but rather to the expression of the artist's soul through musical sound. Right?
That's me.
That's you. That's exactly what you're expressing here. A painter who finds no satisfaction in mere representation, however artistic, and is longing to express his inner life, cannot but envy the ease with which music, the most non-material of the arts today, achieves this end.
Isn't that
Oh
powerful?
my God.